Oh god, oh god. Come on, jump. Jump, damn it. Jump. Yes. Hello, wait. Please? What do you want? Another data miner Kata intro? Sure. Here's another data miner Kata. Now, back to this. Hello there, and welcome to another Bringing the Thunder. We have another exciting Kata today. With me today, I have David. Hello, David. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself for the people who are watching and haven't seen you before? You have been a guest, though. But
I have been, but I can reintroduce myself.
Reintroduce yourself, my friend. So who are you and what do you do at Skyline?
So I'm David Joseph. I'm a solution DevOps engineer, which actually means I'm trying to make solutions with everything that we got in Skyline and focus that on a certain domain or to solve a certain problem for a certain customer in a sort of standard way.
Yes, so DevOps development and Ops all together combined, trying to use what you're creating and creating new things. And what are we going to be looking at today? You've prepared another nice exercise that we can all follow along with. What's the topic?
The topic of today is actually how we can improve the look and feel and the usability of our low-code apps.
Oh boy, design, layout. I'm obviously extremely good at that. Yes.
I know.
I always like picking things like big towers for IP and stuff, and nice coloring. So it's all about that. It's all about nice colors, layout, look and feel of things with the apps and the dashboards that we've already been working with. Okay. Well, let's jump into it, I suppose. Let's have a look at what you've got for us. So any prerequisites?
Yes. So I've created a package that you can download from the catalog, which is actually will provide you with a very ugly app to start.
Boy.
That should be easy.
Okay. I hope I find it ugly, otherwise I might love it. This seems done to me. Okay. So you've got an app on the catalog.
Yeah, which is called Kata Design. So if you look for that and you just deploy it like we've seen in the previous Katas, you should have an app and it will also create, like we saw it, we've seen in the last Kata, a DOM definition so that you can enter some data.
Yeah, so a little bit of data and then an ugly app.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed.
That's good. I hope we can make something a little bright and happy, because if we look at the weather today, it's rather unfortunate. But
we'll try to improve that as well.
Ironic that we're doing a nice look and feel design thing, and it's like the most gray day possible. But okay, so let's dig into it. So on the catalog, you can find Kata Design. Yeah. You can deploy that one on your data miner services connected agent or on the data miner service connected agent using the deploy there from the catalog. Indeed.
Correct.
So you've already done that.
Yeah. Okay. Because otherwise we'll lose a little bit too much time. Although it goes very fast. You've seen it in the past.
Yes.
So you click it and basically a minute later you will have, you should see this app popping up in your app overview page.
Okay.
So once you've done that, if you open the app, you will see this beautiful app.
I mean, I love it already.
Yeah, no.
I think we're done.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so we do have,
So are there things that you see that could be improved?
Oh, I don't like that question. I already said I'm not good at looking at... I know marketing behind the camera is going to look at this and go like, oh boy, guys, what are you doing? I would guess the green kind of annoys me, and the lettering seems a bit, boring. That pie chart is a bit strange, I think. Like, I don't really like the legend there and stuff like that. I hope I'm saying things that you're going to do. Otherwise, you're like, those were the good
Not
parts.
everything, but close.
Okay.
So let's start indeed. The basic thing with the coloring, that's like the first thing you need to think about when you create an app. Choose a decent color, and with decent I mean a color which is nice to look at but also has enough contrast for the user. If you, for example, open this menu, you will see already the app picks a font color by default, and it does that based on, I guess what would be a good contrast. But if you have a color which is too light or too dark, then it will pick in some cases like a color which is too close. So in this case, a white font would be better, but that's an option you don't really have currently, which might come in the future. So first thing we're going to do is change that app color. So we go into edit mode of our app, and we're going to click here on the top left to go to the menu where we can change the color of the app at the bottom. And we can choose an icon. So also there, for an icon, choose an icon which tells a bit what the app is about. So in this case, it's about contacts. So we look for an icon which might resemble a app which handles people contacts indeed. And then let's change the color. So we can pick a color here manually, but you can also just enter
the hex code.
So here I've prepared
RGB as well, I see.
Yeah, RGB and hex, and then I can paste a color in here. So let's say, for example, we pick this color. So if we click this icon again, you see contrast is already a lot better.
Also,
in this case,
blue immediately better.
Yeah.
And the king of colors. So,
well, I would say it's more purple, but that's for discussion.
Okay, it's the lighting. Lighting. But still, purple fine. Fine. But so, is there like a theming that you can do?
Yes, correct. So that's actually the next step. What we're going to do. The only thing I want to fix first is also by default you will have these icons on the pages which are also a bit bland. So also there, try to do that from the start. Pick a nice icon for each page. So here we're going to add a contacts icon again. So we can do that here on top of the page. If we go to the organization page, open up the icons, and then look for another icon. For example,
immediately applies on your draft, so you can see what it looks like.
Correct.
Cool.
So this, we can already publish it just to see where we are currently. So let's publish the app. Always a good thing to publish a lot. Then you have what you changed and you don't lose the
there was a version history in it. It goes back a bit, not too much, but I think you had like 10 or so.
Yes, so here you can actually go back.
So there is a bit of like you get with a GitHub repository, you get kind of a similar experience.
True. So now you see the app colors have changed and the icons. So indeed, the next thing we need to look at is themes. Sorry. Yes. So themes determine a bit how your app will be styled. But to edit the themes the best is that you go via the dashboard module, because there you can actually create and edit those themes that can be used across dashboards and apps.
Okay. So the theming module or themes as it stands is within the dashboards module, but the ones you create there can also be used in the low-code apps.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
So let's go there. Then we go to settings. And then we'll have our themes.
Okay.
So you will see by default there's a bunch of themes out of the box. But the best thing is actually to create your own theme, because then you can actually
choose coloring and what you want to happen. And
So for this exercise, I've created two themes, a page and panel, because we have pages in apps, but we also have panels, and you might have a different look and feel for those.
Okay.
So let's look at the page. So this is a theme for which you define a background color. So in this case, it's just it's not completely white. So that's also maybe a tip that I can give.
Off-white.
Yeah.
Everything off-white. If you've ever painted your house or a wall, you will know that.
Yeah, correct. Same for dark themes. Don't use full black. Yeah. It's a bit too hard on the eyes, too much contrast. So try to pick something which is a little bit lighter or a little bit darker.
Okay.
So once you've defined that, then you need to define component themes. So which is actually a theme that you can apply on specific component, a bar chart, a form, a button. Yeah. So then you can actually create different ones, and then once you apply it in the app, then you can still pick per component which theme that you're actually using. So for this exercise, I just kept it simple, just a default theme.
Yeah.
And then a transparent. A transparent is really important, as we'll see, because there's a lot of components that actually don't need a background.
Right.
Because that's a bit, it looks more ugly to use backgrounds on everything. So some components should be
a more minimalized style. Ooh, that should not have used that word, but I think you got
minimalistic.
Minimalistic. Thank you. Minimalistic. All right.
Okay. So I won't go through all the details here. The thing is, I'm going to share that on Docs what the settings are for this theme.
Okay.
Because that couldn't be part of the package, but I'll share that later on, just to highlight what you can do in here. So you define what font size you're going to use, and then here also a color palette. So you have a background and a font color for your component theme as well. So not for your full page, per component you can have a different color. So you will see here that the background color is different from my background from my page. It's even lighter than my page, and then the font color is also not fully black font. And then you see this color palette here. So that is actually for all the charts that we can create. Then it will use these colors. It will
pick from that.
Yeah. So if you have a pie chart, you will clearly see that it uses this range of colors. Also, there it's nice to have a good color palette. Just a tip on how you can actually create such a color palette. So you have Adobe Color, for example. You have other sites, and there you can actually you have different settings. Also, there it's a bit too short to run through this, but you can actually create something that matches together, and then use that in your.
Okay. So third-party tools available anywhere you look to be able to get that hex value or RGB. Well, that it's only RGB, right?
Well, if you edit it, normally you should see both. So here then you have the hex as well.
Great.
And then there's other things like spacing, borders. So typically we do a bit of round borders, shadows. Yeah, it goes really far, but try to not go too wild with it and using shadows and stuff like that, because
it can get quite
busy
and busy. Okay.
So, and then just on the transparent theme, then what you can do is for your colors, just pick a fully transparent color. So here, if you open this, you have opacity.
Yes.
So you can just set it to 0, and then you don't have any background color for your component.
Okay. So that's how you select background.
Or you just take the same color as a background, but this is easier.
Yeah.
Because if you change it, it will follow along.
Okay. So if you've got one of those themes, you can then probably apply it to the app.
Correct.
And how do we do that?
I'll show you.
Great.
So hit edit. So this is just a standard way, edit a page. And then what we need to do is click on the background of the page to have the page selected. So we're not going to select the component yet.
Okay.
First we apply a theme per page.
Okay.
So we go to layout, and then from here we will pick that specific one. So I'll apply it.
Right.
And then immediately you see the look is already
a lot more
different,
fresh, and a lot more in your in your face, I guess. But that's what you want for a pie chart and stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next thing is then selecting a theme per component. So let's select my image here.
Yeah.
So typically with images, it's nicer if we have, for example, a logo with a transparent background, and we just apply it like that, and we don't have any background for our component.
Yes.
So what would we do in this case?
I'm gonna guess you pick the transparent style. That's
correct.
Created.
Yeah. So for the components, we pick that transparent style, and you see immediately we'll have that logo.
And then you can add an image.
Yeah. So you can just upload images. So that's a standard feature there. Make sure that your image is transparent as well. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense. So we'll just put it over here for now. And we'll do the same. So this is also a general tip I want to give. Don't use backgrounds on images, on buttons, on titles. Always do transparent there, because it just looks nicer.
Okay, and flows more in the page and everything around it. So, but now you're going through, you did one, you're doing another one. Is it the goal that you go through each one individually, or can you like do a select all or apply to every component?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's a bit of clicking.
Yeah.
But then
at least you're aware of what you're doing instead of with a Control A or a select all, you might do some stuff that you'd rather not.
Indeed. So next thing that I'll make this a little bit bigger here. So what is also a bit ugly in our app is everything is just...
Yeah, it's rather disorganized.
Yes. So that's the next thing we need to look out for. That's actually that we align things, that we don't have things with different spacings. And so try to make it a bit uniform, have the same spacing on the left, on the right. Like here, this is completely to the right border, so we'll just take the same spacing there. We'll make our title as big as this. It's a bit of fiddling around with the controls here. And another thing I must mention first is, so if we design apps, a app might look different on different screens.
Yes.
Which can be
difficult.
Yeah, difficult, because if you have very big screens and you start building this on your laptop, and you will have an app which is just on the top of your page. To solve that, there's a feature which is called Fit to View. So if you select the background of your page and go to Fit to View mode, this will mean now that the screen space that I see will be my screen space no matter on what screen. So it will just size it based on the screen. So you see that components collapse a little bit in this case. And then you need to just position your components within that available space.
That's handy. That's very good. Because I remember I think WPF and Windows Forms back when I was making that stuff. That was like a horror show. And I had to use the grid view to try and say align to the sides and align everywhere and relative positions. And then you thought it was great until you opened it on your phone and you said...
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, no, that isn't it. Okay, so that's a rather fun feature. So what was it called again? It's
Fit to View.
Fit to View.
So you select the page and you have it here. You have it on pages and you have it on panels.
Very good.
So in the meantime, I'm just rearranging stuff.
We do have a grid view as well, right? If I remember, we had a Kata on that as well.
This is actually a grid. What you see here, this component is a grid, which is actually where you can use it as a button panel. You can do different visualizations. That's just a single component.
Right.
The full page is often just components that you align on the page.
Okay.
So let me just do this.
Yeah. So some alignment there.
Yeah.
Making it fit.
So also try to make them evenly the same width. So here I'll take the image as well on top. I have a button here to add contacts.
But would it be an option? Because what I'm looking at now, I would say kind of looks like the entire page could be a single grid.
Not really, because in a grid you cannot really use other components. A grid you can just style this button, but all buttons will be very similar. It's not that you can put a pie chart here. And this is actually a grid. You can define what is in the cell.
Yes.
Typically it will be the same for all cells. You can make distinctions on if you select it or if you hover over it.
Okay, so there's nothing like a layout grid where you could say, okay, put it in cell 1, make it use 3 cells, stuff like that. No. Not in there. So, but you can move things around there, and with the fit to view, you can get it to work on any screen.
Yeah. So this is my first attempt of rearranging it. So let's publish it.
Looks better already. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. I think if I look at it, maybe our logo still looks a bit
too big. Maybe.
Yeah, and then our button maybe, and then the title can be improved as well. So let's have just one more edit here. So I can just make this a little smaller like this. And then the button, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of...
Well, it's layout work.
Yeah, it's trying.
always,
You see, this looks already a bit better. This
always.
button as well. For the title, so there it's just currently very simple. But actually, titles you can create as HTML components as well. So you have, so either you do a pure text component, but if you use a web component, you can actually do a little bit of styling.
So you can apply like a kind of a CSS. And
yes, well, that's inline CSS, but you can make a bit more fancy. You see, now this is very simple, but I can replace this with another one. So for example, this one, you see, and then it looks already a little bit fancier with subtitle and stuff like that. So that's also maybe something that you might use in your apps. So let's publish that again. You see, there we go. It's already
a lot more professional.
Improving a little bit. So next thing that we're going to have a look at is the forms. So in the app.
Right, so now we did the panel.
Yeah.
And then in there we've got some, I'm guessing, buttons you push and pop something up. No.
So this is the button that we can open a panel. So this is already functional in the app. So also the app that you're going to download, it won't have any data, but it's just easy enough to enter some records here.
Yes.
Like for example a Jan Stalens, and then your address.
No, don't dox me now. Eh? Come on, my friend.
So I'll just add you.
Yes, just the name.
And then you see you will have a record in here.
It would have been hilarious, but okay. Good.
So that's fully functional out of the box. But as you can see, maybe our form doesn't look that great.
Yes.
So let's maybe have edit that one as well. So I'll go over here. We go to panels. So we have a panel which is called a contact form.
Yes, that's the one that pops up.
Yeah. And then for that panel, first we select the background again, and we do
a style,
the best practices
or a theme,
panel theme on that page.
Okay.
Then another thing which might be interesting is to have a little title here. So
yes,
then we can do the same. So we add a web component. So let's do that. Yeah, another important thing. First, always do this fit to view.
All right.
Otherwise, we'll have scroll bars in panels, and so we'll just say fit to view. You see, down it jumps around.
Are there situations where you wouldn't want to do that? Is there? Because it's not active by default. I'm guessing there's a reason.
If you know that it's not going to fit on a single page because you want to have lots and lots of data and you need to scroll. Yeah, then it doesn't make sense because it will squeeze the page to the full size.
I see. The fit to view removes scroll bars and things like that.
Yeah.
It's literally fit to view. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yes. Good. Okay.
So I'll just rearrange. So here also I can do the same things that we mentioned. So use the space that is available. Make it consistent in using your width on the side.
Okay.
So I'll add this HTML in here.
So this means if it pops up, will it take up your whole screen, or will it still be a box?
That you can decide on opening the panel. You will say it should take this width in my. So this is on the button where you define that. I can show.
So the fit to view doesn't necessarily mean the entire screen. It's the window where it's.
Yeah. Correct.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll just remove this button here because it's also a bit of an ugly button. I'll just put this completely to the bottom so we can't drag this any further because it's fit to view.
Yeah.
And then just add a title in here. So again here I can just in the settings add some HTML.
Yeah.
So I'll pick something that I've prepared. And then you see we now have a title. We can give some instruction here on what you need to do with this form. We just make it align nicely and let's publish it.
Okay, and now if we click on add, we should see our new contact. Yeah.
One thing that is also nice is to make the form transparent. So maybe let's do that as an additional enhancement.
Make it even more fancy and flowing within your app. Yeah.
Let's look at how that looks. So if we do add contact, see, it's a bit cleaner.
Yes.
Already.
Yes.
Great. So that's what we did with forms.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different also tips there. If you use forms, for example, always choose a consistent way of doing it. So you can do a side panel or you can do a pop-up. In this case, we choose it as a pop-up because it's like, this is what you...
And then you apply that to everything in your app using pop-ups. Otherwise, it can confuse a user when you're clicking and something happens.
Indeed.
Yeah,
and use the same positioning for your buttons. Do always things very consistently. Also a panel, maybe use it for showing additional information, but not for a form, for example. So there, make it just consistent in the way you use it within the company.
I'm an agent of chaos because everything you're saying, I keep thinking, wow, I would put buttons everywhere. The most annoying app in the world. Yeah. But no. Okay, not the intention.
What we usually do is on a form, we put the buttons, for example, here. So, like we say, we have a save button, for example. Choose an icon as well. Always do that.
And using the header to...
The header, yeah. And then, for example, in here, instead of this add, we can just use it to close the panel. So just another visualization. So here we say close, and now we have X, for example, and then in the event we will say, okay, close the panel, this panel, okay, and then on the save, we'll say, okay, execute action. I want to save my changes for this form. Then I want to close my panel, and then I want to refresh my table.
Right, so it's visible. Yeah. So all of those actions, one after the other, and then if you apply that, okay, you'll get the other way of working with the header and a button, and then...
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have that, so our nice form.
Pretty good, yeah.
Another thing which is still a bit disturbing is this green grid here.
Yeah, it's a bit out of alignment. Yes. I didn't want to mention it yet, but...
Yeah, so both the color and how it's aligned is a bit annoying. So that's also a thing, another tip we want to give. So if you have, for example, your app color that you choose, like the purple, the blue, try to only use it in places that you want to highlight. Don't use it just all over the place, like do a full grid in that color. Maybe only for the, like if it's a selection on a grid or things like that, just something you want to focus on.
Okay.
So if we do that, so let's edit our grid. We go here to layout, edit, and then first thing we want to do is change the color of this.
Yeah.
So we'll just pick here, change the hex.
So we'll make that one a little less garish green.
Indeed. So let's do this. It's a little more subtle.
Soothing to the eyes.
Yes. So let's save that. And then for the alignment, so in this case, what we can do, so that's, I guess that already explained in one of the katas, but you can just say, okay, I want to auto size both the height and the width of those cells, and I want 2 columns.
Attempt to fill everything in as well as it can.
So this should already look a little better.
Yeah, that's nice. Should we, what do you think? Should we get them to make a screenshot of that, or is there more you really wanted to show?
There's a little more if we still have some time.
I mean, sure, go for it. Let's see what we can still improve on that.
So the only thing I want to still touch on is on the tables, because in the previous kata we've seen the power now. So what we have with the grids, where we can actually have design templates. We also have that on the tables, and that can also improve how your tables look dramatically. So let's go there. So first thing on tables that we want to mention, don't overcrowd it with columns, with everything that you have.
Yeah.
Clearly choose what is the data that a user would want to see in that table and limit it. If you want to show more data, make sure you open a panel and you show all the data.
More details or stuff.
Yeah. Right. So one of the first things that we see a lot in as a common mistake in apps, showing the ID. Yeah. So when building queries, you always want the ID because you're joining and things like that. But to show it to the user, you can actually hide that data by using the filters. So then I can just you see here, this is my query that I'm using, and I can just say, okay, I want to see my full name of my contact, the address maybe, the email.
All right, you select what you want and then the ID.
And country. That's maybe the only thing I want to see for now. And that's it. So this is already a lot cleaner. Then next thing I can do is then edit the layout of those cells. So for each column, I can actually do a template how that column should look like. So I'll say for the full name, here I'll say customize my preset.
Okay.
And then I have, then I can fully edit how that specific one looks. So first thing that we're going to do, I click on the background here, and I'm going to increase the height of my row. This already gives a little bit more air to the app.
Yeah.
And so I'll increase that to, let's say, 42 pixels. So you see my row is a little bit higher. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to put a small icon next to it to indicate what the data is about.
Some more visualization, yeah.
So just for the name, I can just say, what I will do is I'll give it a, put it 35 pixels from the left border, so I have some space to do that. And also I will increase my font size to 14 pixels.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah. Then I put an icon on it. Put it here. Pick contact. Like this. The size of my icon is 16 by 16.
All right, okay.
And I'll put it 15
so you've
from the top.
Given that cell more space so that you can put that icon in front, and then when you apply that on the table, you'll... Okay, that's great. Yeah.
So let's have a look. So you see now my table is a little bit more...
I think we've seen that template editor before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we had a Kata on the template editor on the table and then stuff. Yeah.
So, and then you can do that for all columns. Like, let me show you how that can look in the end. So here, for example...
Is when you apply it to every column.
Yeah. And then here I've applied a mailed to link, because you can actually use HTML in those cells.
Yes.
And I can just click here, and it will just open my
Outlook
email,
or your email or whatever. Yep. Great.
You see?
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of other things I can mention, but this should give you like a start.
Why could we go to the previous one? So we went up to that point.
Yeah, I can show the difference.
Yeah, but so I would say to everyone watching, so, well, don't take a screenshot of that one. So that's the one we started with, but if you've been following along, take a screenshot of what you ended up with. You might have picked the different colors for your team. That's great. We'd love to see what you came up with. Probably going to be some clown things in there if it's me doing it. So that's how people can pick something cool. So take a screenshot of that, send it in using the usual ways, and we'll give you some DevOps points for that. So David, once again, thank you for making some time.
You're welcome.
And for showing us this, and everyone watching. I hope you enjoyed our progress from something that started to something that's pretty awesome. So I'll catch you on the next one. Have a nice day.